Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Three Crones in the Woo Woo. Look at us, we're all back together. We have our three crones again. Yay! It was absolutely phenomenal, wonderful, and I loved having our guests on, Amanda Slade and Tanya Pesh and Sue Ward-Paquin, and I'm sorry we didn't get to have Declan come on. That was supposed to be on last week. We would have loved to have talked to him as well, but it is so good to have you back, Miss Krista.
Yes.
Oh, I feel the love. You know, it's great to be back. It was kind of funny. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh, wait, I have three crones. Yay! Woo! It was. I was really excited. And, you know, to be able to get back and it's always wonderful to go on vacation, and it's always wonderful to have a really awesome adventure, but there's something to be said about having a groove.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I love having the groove, and part of my groove is, of course, our podcast.
Yay! Yeah. Well, we definitely enjoyed seeing all of your photos and videos from all over. My gosh, such beautiful scenery, such beautiful places you went.
Amazing.
It is amazing. I was dumbfounded. You know, I've always said with a lot of the traveling we've done, I'm like, oh, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been, right? Or, oh, this is the best. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I will see anything any more gorgeous, any more beautiful. And you know what's the most amazing thing? I always do. And I just love that.
You could write a book just on your travels.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but who would read it?
If it had pictures, I'd read it.
Yeah. I would read it.
You take that however you want to.
It's all good. If it's a picture book.
Yeah. Well, so those waterfalls were spectacular.
Weren't they? Oh my gosh, they were. And really and truly. So I don't know how many people can say they go on a cruise and lose weight, but Kevin and I both lost weight. The amount of walking, the amount of riding, the amount of moving. We haven't done that amount of anything literally, you know, for that consistently, for that many days since before COVID. Wow. I mean, it was amazing. I looked at Kevin, I'm like, oh, wow, I miss not doing this. I really miss not doing this. So yeah. That's awesome. It was really awesome. It was really great. I highly recommend it. I will say, if anybody wants to go to see the Norwegian fjords, you, especially via cruise or even via travel, and you need to think about doing it sooner rather than later, because Norway is going zero carbon in 2026. And so cruise ships won't be able to go into the fjords anymore until they can figure out a way to do it, and with zero carbon. And it's not necessarily going to, you know, it also will make renting vehicles a task.
Gotcha.
So,
well, you know,
but I recommend doing it.
The view from those nuclear powered submarines just isn't the same.
You know, it really just isn't. Yeah, I can tell you, I was out in some pretty amazing water, and Kevin, he has this great app on his phone, and you know, he likes to watch ships' movement on his phone. And so he'll sit, and I saw all kinds of ships, Saw all kinds of things right out there. But I can tell you one thing I never saw was a submarine, which is a good thing because you're not supposed to see them.
My hats are off to those submariners because there's no way that I could stay contained.
No, neither could I.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It takes a very special individual to do it.
Yeah.
My dad being one of those individuals and several other people we know. And really, I've been on a family cruise in a submarine, and it's kind of cool. And I was glad when it was done.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be me.
We need to talk about your dad and his submarine career, because I know a couple of submariners up here, and I wonder if we know each other. I mean, it's less likely that I think Kevin and my person would know each other because Kevin's topside.
Yes,
but
Kevin's
as far as the submariner community goes, I'll bet you it's a smaller world than we think.
It is a much smaller world, and it depends if he was diesel or fast attack.
Oh, good point. I'll have to find that out. All right. So, Mr. Maris, how was your week? What have you been
okay?
Yeah?
It's been okay.
All right.
It's okay. That's wow. Wow, are we being a woman of very few words today, my friend?
I'm gonna say it's like 49 days of going through like just clearing a lot of stuff. So
gotcha.
Yeah, so and the transits that are happening are also very indicative of that too. So it's just I guess I'm right on the timeline, if you will. You know,
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a little rough. I'm gonna say it's more psychological than physically. Like I'm not going through anything physically; it's really psychologically. And so,
Okay.
No, and I can get that. I've been there with you at least the last week or so, right? And there's a lot of Chiron wound stuff, a lot of the past coming forward.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. You know, it's almost like. For me, it's like bringing together like my mother's death and wounds that I have to like heal from that, and then understand why the death is bringing me here right now. So it's like merging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, at least as I understand it, for me, it's almost like looking at these things that have been persistently coming back over the years, right? And recognizing how differently they serve me now than they did then, or how I react differently to their presence, popping up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's been kind of like mini breakdowns, but it's like it's all going to work out. Everything's going to be fine. This is inconvenient. It's icky. I don't like it, but nothing's really wrong.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fix. This just sucks for a couple of hours or a day or two. Is it like that?
Because when you think of and I've said this before, when you think of Saturn being in Pisces has to do with the emotional and spiritual connection. So emotionally is in Saturn, as you know, is the teacher. So emotionally is really almost like going through those emotional lessons and then seeing the spiritual reason for those lessons. And that's what I've been really going through. And so it's been rough, I feel, psychologically for me, not for anybody else in my house, but because of what I've been through, So it's been a journey.
Interesting. That's really cool. All right, my friends. Well, let's find out a little bit more about what those transits are actually doing up there that are having that impact.
All right. So obviously today is the super full moon in Aquarius, but I want to take it back a little bit. So we have the sun in Leo, and the sun is conjoined with Venus retrograde in Leo. And that's opposing the super full moon in Aquarius. So what does that mean exactly? So I'll do the moon stuff first and the sun, and then I'll do the Venus retrograde part. So the sun in Leo, it's all about this individual self. Now, Leo is a very prideful sign, it's about the ego. So, and the Aquarius moon has to do with the collective. And so how we have such like a polarity here. And if you think about the ego and the collective, we have to sort of like, yes, we have to be in our ego to protect ourselves, but we also have to work with the collective because we're going to a split timeline. And the split timeline is leaving the old and embracing the new. We'll also have to clear generational wounds that are almost like blocking us from being within our, the higher self, if you will. So in order to be a leader, and that's that Leo energy, we have to first have people that we can lead. But how do these people follow us, so to speak, if we're not good leaders, or if we're not, within our own right, like standing in our own power, so to speak. So Leo sun is about being in your power, but not being an egotistical kind of, abuse of power, because we also have the moon that's all about the collective, about the new earth, about the new planet, about the 5D. And it's about all of us standing up in our power, but working together in a collective sort of way. And so there's this duality going on, where a lot of people don't want to lose control or don't want to lose, power, if you will, over someone else. But then how do we work together? And so that's that duality that's happening with this sun in Leo and the full moon in Aquarius. Now the Aquarius, it's almost like a bridge to the evolution. It's a bridge to, going into the new earth. And so we have to sort of find that balance. Right. And the sun is also the masculine energy. The moon is the feminine energy. So it's also a duality between the masculine energy and the feminine energy. Now, the masculine energy has to do with action taking and has to do with also standing up in that power energy. And the moon is the very intuitive receiver. And it's the nurturer, right? It's the one that nurses people. And that's what really needs to be. We need to nurse each other, especially from the wounds we've been through and everything we've been through. So a lot of us are going to be helping others in the new earth, in the 5D, heal so that they too can lead. And so it's not about just one person. It's about the collective leading and shifting and raising the planet from the lower dimensions, from the 3D to the 5D. There's a lot going on because we cannot get there, though, until we heal ourselves first. We can't get there. We can't lead other people where we're broken ourselves and we're not almost walking our talk, so to speak. So we have to do it first and then help others do the same. And so that energy is really, really strong right now. The Venus retrograde in Leo. Now, Leo rules the heart. Venus is the heart. So it works really well in Leo, Venus. But it's also opposing the moon in Aquarius. And so what does that mean necessarily? It's the difference between the sacred and the profane. And so we have to look at relationships in the terms of, is this relationship sacred, or is it on the other side of the spectrum? Those we have to let go of, those relationships that are not really heart-centered, and keep the ones that are. And so that's also going on at the same time, is identifying what relationships are sacred, what relationships are worthy, and which ones are not. And so there's so much there happening. It's all happening at the same time. So people that are, sensitive to these energies, like me, I feel it very strongly, and I've been feeling it for wow, since the beginning. I would say the beginning of June, I've been feeling these strong energies, like really clearing, like I said, clearing generational wounds and clearing, what I have to clear so that I can step up, how I need to step up. And it's also the energy of Neptune is really an energy that it's higher planetary service. So when we speak about higher planetary service, that means we're going to service the planet. And so, but if we're broken, if we're not, really, if we're fragmented, how can we do that? How can we, help the planet, not just the people, but the planet as a whole? Everything. It's everything. It's the whole planet. And so we need to get into that space of really clearing, our karma, which has a lot to do with the full moon in Aquarius, clearing years of karma, clearing, years of emotional wounding and generational patterns. And stepping into that Leo energy, but not in an egoic sense, but in a sense where, okay, I'm an individualized self that's ready to work with the collective. And that's what that energy is really about right now. And also finding what relationships are sacred, worthy of keeping and worthy of lifting up as well, and letting go of the ones that are not. So there's a lot going on with that. Just with that, I mean, there's other things happening. Like this month is 7 planets in retrograde and mostly in the earth signs. So it's like really connecting to Mother Earth and really connecting to our physical reality and see what's real, what's false. And there's a lot of that that's also going to be revealed. There's some things that we believe are real, but they're not. We kind of live in a false reality, and that's going to also be brought up to the surface. A lot of technologies too, with that energy of the Aquarius energy, is going to also be revealed. So there's so much. There's really a lot planetarily, that these energies that are coming up, and especially come November when Pluto leaves Capricorn. That's a timeline split, really leaving the old and entering the new. And that could be a death of, illusion.
When is that supposed to happen?
In November.
In November, okay.
Yeah. So it's a death of, illusion. You thought, the reality we were living was real, but it's really not. You know what I mean? So that could be really hard on some people, understanding and coming into the realization that, wow, I thought I was living, my reality was real, but it was all false. Yeah. So how do you process that?
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah. So something you just said about the earth, all the earth signs, or
there's going to be 6 planets in the earth signs.
6 planets in the earth signs. So you said that, and all of a sudden I have to tell this image of a beautiful tree and the roots dropping down and like anchoring in to our beautiful planet and like hugging it came into mind. So we do talk about retrograde, as it happens with planets. And I find for this particular one, when you said it, all I see it as being is it's like a hug. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people might not think that, but it's a hug. It's a hug from the universe, to say, hey, you're good where you're at. I don't know if that's really what it's all going to say, but as that's kind of what came to me when you said that. And it just was like very colorful, like the cloth you have behind you there, Damaris, except brighter.
Nice. You know what? The Earth has been through so much, the planet Earth. Like if we've been through a lot, planet Earth has been through it all, right?
Oh,
and
yeah.
He also is in need of healing. And that's what I was talking about with that Neptune energy is, higher planetary service. So it's almost like we got to give back to the earth now, because we have taken so much from it. And so now it's about giving back to the earth and, healing, as well as healing the earth, healing ourselves, and stepping up like we have never stepped up before, not with this ego where it's like all about the self. It's about, we're all in this together, and we all need to show up, and we all need to, heal and heal the planet. Otherwise, we're not going to have a planet to reside in. And so that's where we're at. It's about this timeline split, and leaving the old behind, the old ways of being, the old attitudes, behaviors, the old perceptions, the old beliefs, and stepping into a new one. And so that's, I've already been experiencing all of it, and it's hard. So people that may not understand all of this, and they don't understand astrology, they don't understand these energies coming in and what's happening, they're going to be such at a loss. Like, they're going to be, in a bad place because they don't understand. They don't know. They don't have, heads up, if you will.
Yeah. Or even how to take a perspective from being an observer versus trying to throw yourself in the middle of the perfect storm.
Exactly. And the way I saw it, I was thinking about what I've been through lately. And, we have the Lion's Gate coming up. And really what came to me all of a sudden was, being in the lion's den. So it's almost like I felt like when my mom died, I was in this lion's den, and I either was going to be eaten by this lion or I was going to shapeshift into it. And so it's about coming out of that den, being that lion, because I cannot be eaten by it. Otherwise, I have to come back and repeat it all, and I can't do that.
Yeah. No, I don't need to repeat. No. I just want to keep having fun.
Yes. So let's just talk about the number 7, because today is a 7, and then I'll give it over to you. So the 7 is, again, soul's evolution, soul searching, so meditation, reflection, going within, introspection, and that's really what I've been through. The 7 also, when you write the word heart, the word heart equals a 25, which is a 7. Speaking of which, Venus, Leo, is going into the heart center. It's going back into that center, and that's where your soul is. And, realizing that alone you will accomplish nothing, but together we can accomplish so much. And so that's all that energy. It's just everything comes together with that.
Yep, definitely. Cool. Yeah, I love that.
And giving it over to you.
Really? Okay. Awesome. I was dancing. I really got into it. I've missed not hearing that.
I know.
I really have. I've missed not hearing it. So, Bixbite, right? That's our crystal of the week.
That is correct.
And I I was all excited this morning, and I got up and I was reading about it again, because I'm like, there's something I remember about Bixbite that I need to keep reminding myself of. What is that, right? And it's okay. So Bixbite is actually known as Red Beryl now. They've changed the name. And here's a couple of really cool things. One, Bixbite is one of the rarest stones on our planet. It is also one of the most expensive stones on our planet. So please do not be going around looking for a piece to wear unless you plan on spending lots and lots and lots of money. Real Bixbite or real Red Beryl is not ever cut. In true essence, they keep it genuine. This is coming from the gemology. Gemology is it .au, which would be Australia, I think it was, and because it is such a rare stone, the red beryl, they like to keep it very much in its natural state. So if you see something that says Bixbite on it and it's appearing as or a red beryl, chances are it is a synthesized red beryl and not a genuine red beryl. All right, enough about that. So I was looking up the meanings and like really what it represents. So in the healing essence of it, it's red. So it has all to do with the heart
and
the circulatory system and the root chakra, but I'm thinking physiologically, and which, I was tapping into because, of course, I was thinking of Leo, right? And the heart of Leo, and of course, the essence of Leo. And it's, I always think of Leos as being the shining star and not the shining star in the sky, more like, hi, I'm here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it, Leo energy. And to all my Leos, I love you. Mwah. Love you.
They usually have fabulous hair too.
Yeah, they have a mane.
They do. They have a mane. Tracy, my younger sister, she's a Leo.
She's a Leo?
Yeah, with her mane.
Yep.
Yeah, she is. She's
I have a rising Leo, so.
There you go. Nice. So I really got thinking about that. And then I was reading about, more along the spiritual meaning and the essence of what red beryl represents. And it represents change, and it represents of course, grounding, but it was change. And then there was something else that now it's the change. The change is sticking to my mind because that's what kept coming up for me, is that for us, the red beryl is about, it's about using the Leo, and it's about tapping into the full moon of the Aquarius, right? To remember that you are, by the way, the only version of you. There is no one else.
No.
And it is to remind us that that is important, that the change and that shift of the ego or the self of Leo and the community of Aquarius, you are the only version of you in that community.
Yes.
Right? It's you. All the messy parts of you, all the fabulous parts of you, all the, the wondrous parts of you that you haven't discovered yet. And the red beryl is here to help you, push you through that, to help you transform into understanding that you are significant in that community.
Yeah.
That you are you, that shining star version of you, that Leoness is needed in the greater community.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to, especially with social media, and especially with even television and how in movies, used to be that people were like, oh, I want my life to be like it is in the movies. And then, of course, as we were growing up, it was less about, always the movies. And then, stuff you saw on TV. And then, the next generation, it's, adding in, and it's through social media and all that. But the reality
is a false reality, by the way.
It is. That's not true. You are living the reality because you're living your reality. I love sharing my experiences and all the photos of what we've done, in the travels and everything with everyone, not because I want you to emulate the trip I just took. I want you to be inspired to go have your own adventure. Go live your own adventure. Yeah. Even if that adventure is in your own backyard. And I mean, seriously, your own backyard. I'm not talking, just the neighborhood you live in. I'm talking if your adventure starts in your backyard, so be it. Then you can go bigger, bigger, bigger. Right?
Yeah.
So it is about, it really, the red barrel is at a perfect time. I could not have picked a better stone to represent what's happening with the full moon and what's happening, with the sun in Leo, together. Really and truly, I don't think I could.
Yeah, it's really.
I personally could have.
It's really amazing how it always comes together.
It really is. I mean, this is woo woo. Hi, woo woo present. And that's not me, but it appeared, and so yeah, I was really blown away because it's very significant with everything that's going and coming up. And also look at it in terms of not just on the U level, the I level, right? Look at it in a greater arena. How does that red barrel, that change, that self-recognition, that coming from the heart, right? Where it comes from the heart. How does that work? Or how do you see it within your own community? We can't necessarily change everybody but we can influence by demonstrating our own shifts.
Definitely. I just want to add something as you were speaking. The Venus energy, it wants us to be not codependent, but interdependent, which means that, like, I need you guys. I can't do this by myself if I'm doing this show, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not codependent on you, but I'm interdependent with you.
Yes.
That's really the new energy. It's like being interdependent, knowing that we all need each other, but at the same time standing within our own, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's a higher vibration, because codependency obviously is not a good vibration.
No, it's not.
Codependency is wholly reactive. You have to have already studied how that person is going to feel in any given situation to be able to anticipate that they're going to feel a certain way if this happens or this happens. And then micromanaging yourself in order to micromanage their behavior, their emotions. It's like 50 billion computations a second.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Yeah. But interconnectedness, it's like when those synchronicities show up, right? And just the right people join just the right team at just the right time and everything flows. Well, that's when we start talking about my segment today.
There you go.
Divine timing and the yes energy collides. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's true. And so in how the synchronicities of not just the planets, but of the crystal of the week, but the synchronicities even of, I've been paying attention because I know that not everybody watches the news. I watch the news because Kevin watches the news. And I watch many news sources because Kevin watches many news sources. So I always find it very interesting once I know what's going on planetarily.
Then you see how it all falls into place.
Yeah. And you do. And then, of course, if you're out and observing, so sometimes I love to watch people. And that's really, here's a challenge for you guys. Listen to what Damaris is, right? You heard what Damaris had to say. Now go out and watch and observe people and see if you can, don't try to be making it so, but see if you can observe what she was saying, out in the community. Because it's very interesting how often I do. Now that I start watching, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Or someone tells me a story about something that happened with them. I go, yeah, Damaris mentioned that.
Now you can tell what planet is like affecting them, sort of. Right?
Well, and that's it, because and I'm still not going to say that because I can't figure that part out. Haven't figured that part out, but I do suggest that they come watch it.
You want a good study in that taking effect in your own life, not just on a national or global scale.
No, but even yours.
No. Well, what I was going to say is make a practice for a couple of weeks of reading your horoscope before you go to bed at night, not in the morning, because then you will show yourself that this is not the power of suggestion. Oh, I read my horoscope today, and so therefore I'm looking for these types of situations to happen, and I will notice these types of situations to happen more, right? And blow off the actual impact of, that you see at the end of the day when you read your horoscope and you go, oh, wow, I did this happened today. That's that. This happened today. That's Venus or whatever the hell, what happens to be in there. And it gets like really real for you.
Yeah.
Like you can see after the fact, yep, that's what that was all about. I wondered why I felt weird. What I noticed out of doing that for myself is that when the moon goes void, of course, I'm spacey as shit. I am like, I have no grounding at all. Yeah. I'm like, I am
especially an air sign,
just like the moon,
right? It's an air sign too, so it's spacey anyway.
Yeah. And I do believe, I think I did it, and I think I found out that I was born under a black moon. So it was like void at that time anyway. So I'm very, very impacted by whatever house the moon is in and phase that it's in. And I didn't realize that until I started tracking my horoscopes and going, okay, with the transit times, because you wouldn't necessarily know when a certain thing is impacting you.
It's crazy too, because like for me, I have the rising in Leo and my moon is in Aquarius. So this energy right now is impacting me tremendously.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Hey, that's a good thing. Does everybody know where their rising is and their moon is? If you do, put it in the chat below. If you don't, astrosofa.com, you can find out. But yeah, it's because you're right. Knowing that is important.
Yes. Oh, big time. Big time.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I just disappeared, everybody. I had to help a cat out.
All right, Gayle, I think it's all yours.
Excuse me. No, actually, we need to talk a little bit about Patreon, and I'll let Krista handle that.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Okay, guys, Patreon is our community, or a way for you to support the community, and you can become a member. Citrine level, which is our lower level, it helps to keep the lights on, and we really do greatly appreciate it. And then we have our amethyst level, which we are supposed to be meeting for our Moon and Woo. But, well, Krista's been a little busy. So now Krista has to stop being busy so we can start meeting for our Moon and Woo. And we meet twice a month, once for the full moon, once for the new moon. And we talk about all things moon and the woo of it. So, if you'd like to join us, please go over to patreon.com and look up 3 Crones in the Woo Woo. We'd love to have you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, my dear.
You're welcome.
What happened to your mute?
Woohoo! Yeah. No, I double clicked and it went on and went off again.
Wow.
So, oh my goodness. Oh, well, lovely people. When divine timing and energy align, that's when the magic happens. That's when everything flows and everything is in alignment. And I was looking at this earlier today, thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about. And I was thinking about the fact that like the last 3 or 4 weeks, at least the last month, we have been doing a lot of Chiron management, if you will. the past wounds coming up, deciding what relationships need to go, what relationships need to stay, purging our private space, letting go of old emotional hangups that we've had, grudges that we've carried and dragged along long after people have died. What the fuck's up with that? They're gone.
Yeah, why?
Why are you continuing to punish yourself? You know,
It's true.
you know, and I don't mean any, you know, personal to anybody in particular, but that just like presented itself to me. This is insane that we do this to ourselves, and we hate people who have passed away decades ago, right?
It's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one go too in your purging efforts. You know, I've been doing a lot of process work, if you will, but strangely different process work, right? Myself. And I've been encouraging everybody who's been watching over the last few weeks to actually go through and do these exercises to get yourself present to, for example, what you actually want to keep out of those programmings from past years and what you want to get rid of. Because some of those lessons, some of those tools are very, very helpful. And if they're not getting in your way, fuck yeah, use them. Use them. No biggie, you know? There's one, my guides are saying, go ahead, talk about it. When I was little, that 2 years that I was in a trailer, you know, sleeping on top of a metal desk with, you know, extension cords and heating, you know, those wire coil heater things on the floor.
Yeah.
And I was petrified that the wool U-Haul padding blanket that I slept under, okay, would fall off of me and land on this heater in the middle of the night and start a fire. Because I was warned many, many times, you know, be careful, you know, not to start a fire. So I have this like sleeping panic of fire in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Okay. So to this day, I will strip down next to my bed and leave my clothing on a floor in a pile next to my bed and get in bed and go to sleep. And then in the morning, pick my laundry up and throw it in the basket. Because in case of fire in the middle of the night, I want to know where my clothes are.
Yeah.
I want to know exactly where they are. Now, that's one of those things that, sure, keep it. Who's it harming? Who cares? It's not, you know, holding me back from taking part in life in any way, shape, or form. It's not a hill I want to die on, if you will.
Yeah.
And then there are other things like the stupidest shit like, oh my gosh, I never saw my mother have more than $250 in her purse. So I'm chronically poverty ridden because I can't surpass my mother's success. Get rid of that shit now. That kind of programming is unnecessary, unwarranted, unneeded. Bye-bye. It can go. All right. All right. Now, here's the thing, what I'm getting to. Over these last few weeks that we've been doing this work, and I truly hope that you have been doing the work along the way, all right? We now come to the point where it's time to say yes to what's left. What's left when we've purged everything that is not our heart or our heart-based, right? So what we're working on right now, today, in the light of the moon, in the light of the sun, literally, okay? What has distilled down into our core kernel of being from our heart center. And that is enough. We don't need the rest of it. The rest of it does not help us or the collective humanity of Aquarius, right? Those things coming together. Now is the time. We step forward out of 3D, out of this grounded physical reality of all of these planets being retrograded, hooking back into the planet, okay? And stepping forward as 5D individuals carrying the weight of that 3D behind us. You know, as we will move forward, as we rise up they will see by our example how to do that. Like Damaris was saying before, we cannot teach until we heal that part of ourselves. But see, we don't heal others or teach others by saying, oh, look at how I healed me, right? We teach by example, by living the healed life, by not getting caught up in other people's bullshit, by not being codependent, by choosing the courage that it takes to live from that kernel of our essence and our heart. Okay? Those are the examples that we take forward in life and become to the people around us that don't know how to get there yet, that are still a little afraid to actually do the interior work that will help them be light enough to rise up, right? That's where we need to be now, in this very moment, knowing that what is in our heart is enough. It's all that's ever been asked from us, and that we must move forward with the courage that it takes to express that into the world and to share that with people around us and to show others what it means to actually transform in this life by using the skills and the talents and the knowledge that we've been given through all of this, right? And if you're watching this, you're most likely not one of the ones that need to be taught. You're just the ones that need to have the courage to keep going.
Yeah.
You know, you're already doing a lot of the work that needs to be done before you even hit play on us, for sure, or else you would be. There's no way you could hear us, right? We're already working on this stuff to a certain extent, you know, and you're the ones that just need to be told, keep going. We need you. Don't stop. Bring your talent. Bring your love. Love heals all. Right?
It really does.
Yes,
beautiful. That came together beautiful, Gayle. So thank you for that. But definitely, we have to live from the heart and be courageous, like you said, right? Be bold, courageous, and just, you know, it's almost like this has never happened in history since we were born. It has never happened. You know, as you know, Pluto also is returning to where it was 246 years ago. So we weren't alive then. So we're living history, and we have to, you know, we have to step up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Now I have a question for you, Damaris.
Yes.
For Miracle of Miracles, we're actually a little bit ahead of the game today.
Yeah.
But you were talking about this timeline break.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the things that I've been noticing for me a lot lately is that I've been using my left hand. Now, I'm a right-handed person. I am a right-handed person. The other day, I did a whole text message like this. Why? What's going on? You know, that literally, like, the hemispheres of my brain are flipping.
That's awesome, though.
Things are occurring differently. I'm thinking slightly differently about things.
Me
you
too.
know, I can only ascribe so much of it to a year of choosing to not be codependent. You know, but is there side effects to that?
It's also discovering, you know, abilities that you haven't, that are dormant, you know.
Okay.
So you've been always using the right hand. You do have abilities in your left hand. Now it's using, you know, it's almost like balancing that masculine energy and masculine and feminine side, right?
Yeah, it does feel like that. Like there's a rebalancing going on of the masculine action taker energy and the feminine receptive energy. And not that one's becoming more powerful, but that they're both kind of like filling in gaps.
Yeah.
So to speak. You know, because I mean, my receiving is kicked up as well.
Exactly.
You know, that as well as the action taking. So it's like they're both rising somehow.
You know, it's funny too, because when, let's say we're watching a movie and we cry, right? That crying is the feminine side, and emotionally people control us. And so the emotional side is the feminine side. And so when we're we're falling into somebody's story. They're almost like controlling us through that story, through that emotional side of us. And how many times in relationships haven't we been sort of like fooled, let's say? So when we take on the masculine energy, when we take on the masculine energy, they're not really controlling us. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like,
you're re-owning that word, so to speak.
Yeah. So we need to, I'm not saying not to cry if a movie is if a movie is, if you're feeling whatever's going on in that movie, but know that you're being programmed through that emotional energy.
Yeah.
And so we are programmed in life emotionally. And so, but that's the feminine energy. So the feminine energy needs to become stronger, and it needs to not be allowed to be programmed by a TV show, by a movie, or by someone else. And so we need to balance that. That's, again, what I was saying before, the energy of Leo and the energy of that Aquarius moon is this balancing act that we need to, balance. Otherwise, we're going to be programmed, right, through emotionally, When you look at even what happened in 2020, in the summer of 2020, this whole movement of, the Black Lives Matter, it was an emotional thing. You understand what I'm saying? So many people were moved by that emotionally, but what is the truth though? You get what I'm saying? So there's so many things in life that's just one I chose, but there's so many things in life that they have emotionally programmed us, and perhaps down the lion's den. You get what I mean? And so we really need to just stand in our own power and see which way we're going to be swayed, if even so, right?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Now, all of that said, and kind of set to the side for a second, there was a day earlier this week that I woke up, and you know how you have like your time hop thing, or this was going on 2 years ago, this was going on 5 years ago, or whatever. And it was a couple of days ahead of today, but today would have been my 20th anniversary.
Wow.
Second husband. And he passed away 10 years ago. Okay. But, these things coming up, I just burst out into ugly crying.
Yeah.
Right. Like the last vestige, maybe not the last, but the next level of grief about that thing just naturally erupted. It wasn't a matter like it might have been in the past, but like logically rationalizing, justifying, avoiding, or suppressing that crying come up, right?
You're releasing.
Yeah, it was just a purging and done,
Grieving the past, right? That's grieving your past, which is actually what this also full moon in Aquarius is trying to help us do, clearing karma, purging generational wounds, and even not even generational, but what we've been through in this life, right? And so that's all, you're right on this energy, this timeline. It's really happening. It's helping you purge and perhaps understand things about that relationship that you need moving forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's take a real quick look here at the card for today. Okay. And nobody's going to be surprised. The 9 of Wands. So look at this poor guy. I mean, think of it this way. Everybody gets their own staff, right?
Yeah.
So how many battles has this guy been through to have this collection of staffs behind him? His little head's all bandaged up. He's like, come on.
He's been through a lot.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, right? And this 9 of Wands is all about the energy of what have you learned from your battles? Because the prize of the battle is wisdom, right? It's those wands in that particular deck, all of them have little bitty tiny leaves growing off of them. They are the foundation of growth, okay? With knowledge comes power, right? So all of those wands that he's collected have become, things that will cause growth, that will be growth, that will be tools in the future for growth. Okay. So all of those trophies, if you will, the physical manifestation of the prize, the wisdom that comes from all of these battles that we have fought along the way, you still have at your disposal at any time. You can use them to beat somebody with or build a ladder with, right? That energy, right? So in the midst of all of this, all the work that we've been doing for the last few weeks, right? Those are those battles. Yeah. And those are those tools that you've gleaned from those. Those are those things that you're taking with you, not the ones that you're left behind. Okay. So using that energy in today, pulling that into everything else as well. Just know that you have trophies, tools, things that you have created and gained through all of the trials and tribulations that you've gone through. All of these last few weeks should be able to have shown you how far you have actually come in your growth and healing. So congratulations on that. And it doesn't have to be a fight all the time anymore. All right?
It doesn't.
Yay. Yay. All right. Well, congratulations to this week's Woo Woo giveaway winner of the week, Miss Marva Fowler. Thank you so much of 3 Crones in the Woo Woo.
Yay!
Marva. So reach out to myself, Krista, or Damaris to collect your gift. Now, for those of you who may not know what I'm talking about, we give away a 30-minute reading to one of our watchers, listeners, members every week. All right. So if you pick me, it'll be an intuitive tarot reading. If you pick Miss Krista, Miss Krista, that will be a crystal reading. And if you pick Miss Damaris, that would be a numerology reading. So pick one of us, slide into our DMs on Messenger, and let us know, I pick you, get me on your schedule. And we will do that right away. And for everyone, know that we are at your disposal at any time. You can reach into Messenger with us and see if you can get on our schedule and when that would be. We offer more opportunities and options for you than just the readings that we choose to give away every week on 3 Crones in the Woo Woo. So reach out, chat with us, let us know, what you might be in need of and how we can fill that need for you. All right. Cool. All right. Well, thank you to my cohorts and thank you to you, the audience. Really appreciate you being here after, Chris was gone for a month and everything. And most of
I know. I'm sorry, everyone. Hey, you know what I'd love? You guys, could you give us all thumbs up? Right here.
Yes. Please.
Give us some love, some hearts, whatever. Yeah, we'd love that. Yeah, thank you. I miss not being here with all of you guys for my month of travel. It was a lot of fun. But, definitely not as much fun as being with you guys every week. That's a different kind of fun.
I want to leave a message with the audience before we go, and they can comment on, what they have. I'm going to say parting is such sweet sorrow. So what has, you parted from that at the end, you found your sweetness. And so that's the message I want to leave behind. And again, what are we leaving behind? Like we've been talking about today, that will have a sweetness later on to it. So parting has, such sweet sorrow.
I like that. I do. I like that. Okay. All right. I guess I'll have now. You guys have left me thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. What have you left behind that at the end you found, that was a great thing that happened by you leaving that behind?
Well, I've got my answer, but I'm not telling everybody out there.
Okay. So let's see what people can comment, and see what they have left behind that at the end was,
sounds awesome.
They found
that sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for another week of 3 Crones in the Woo Woo. We love you all. Mwah. Bye.
you.